But you look at the advanced metrics, interceptable passes, 20th among quarterbacks. It's fine. 14th among quarterbacks. Clean pocket catchable ball rate, 20th. It's fine.
Everybody's watching these camp clips looking for touchdowns. I'm watching them looking for cracks. And when you actually line up Shedeur Sanders' advanced numbers next to Deshaun Watson's, something doesn't match the outside narrative. Watson is 30 years old, 2 Achilles tears behind him, $230 million fully guaranteed. Shedeur is still a rookie learning this offense from scratch. But pull the efficiency numbers, the ones nobody puts on a graphic, and you start to understand why people inside the building are actually looking twice right now. Let's get into it. So here's where we're at. First day of real padded work at Brown's camp, and the footage is exactly what you'd expect. Shedeur getting his close-up throw with a GoPro strapped to him, Deshaun rolling through his reps, Casey Conception hauling in look after look, Denzel Boston getting his praise from the sideline. It looks like a normal training camp highlight reel, but underneath it, this is the most real quarterback competition the Browns have had in years, and is finally getting decided on the field instead of in a press conference. Remember, this should have happened last year. It didn't. Instead, we watched Kenny Pickett fumble, get picked off, and get sacked over in Carolina, while everybody in the comments kept asking why Shedeur wasn't getting a real shot. Now, the excuses are gone. Todd Monken is running this offense. Andrew Berry is the one who has to answer for how this competition plays out. And by every report coming out of Berea, this is a real, committed two-man battle that's supposed to run through the bulk of camp and get settled across the 3 preseason games, not decided behind closed doors in June. That matters because it means the tape and the numbers actually count for something this time. And that's exactly where this gets interesting, because when you go past the highlight clips and into what the advanced metrics are actually saying about each guy right now, you start to see why some people around the building aren't as locked in on Watson as the narrative outside wants you to believe. Quentin Judkins is back healthy, and everyone in Cleveland is treating him like the key to unlocking whichever quarterback wins this job. The offensive line got real investment this offseason for the first time in years. 2 rookie receivers are pushing for early snaps. All of that changes the environment either quarterback is playing in, but it doesn't change the numbers we already have on the board. And those numbers tell a story that's a lot closer than a lot of people want to admit.
I'm excited. The clips tell us nothing about practice except for it started. The quarterback battle's here. I've been waiting for it for over a year. Not because Shedeur versus Deshaun, because we should have had one last year. And if you heard about what Kenny Pickett's been doing, considering everybody in the chat was telling me, hey, we got to give Kenny Pickett a shot. Fumble, pick, fumble, sack over there at Carolina's training camp. Don't make me bust that out and prove it to you. But again, Shedeur Sanders versus Deshaun Watson. Look at our lads here. They got Shedeur up first.
Here's the part that should actually worry Browns fans who assumed Watson just walks back into that job. The numbers don't agree with that assumption. Let's start with Shedeur, because his rookie season gets summarized in one lazy sentence a lot. 7 starts, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 picks, 56.6 completion percentage. People stop right there and move on, but that ignores everything that was actually happening around him. Go to the advanced numbers and the picture shifts. His interceptable pass rate ranked 20th among quarterbacks. Not great, not a disaster either, especially for a rookie thrown into the fire in Cleveland. His deep ball attempt rate ranked in the 30s, but remember, that's over a partial season. Stretch that out to a full 17 games and the counting numbers change completely. Now here's the one that actually matters. Explosive rating, 18th among all quarterbacks as a rookie, with one of the worst supporting casts in the league around him. Receiver separation score was one of the lowest anybody saw last year, which tells you his guys weren't winning much on their own. And yet his clean pocket completion percentage still sat at 61.3. Where it gets rough is when the defense turns the pressure up. Blitz completion rate under 50%, deep ball completion around 32%. Those numbers aren't good. I'm not going to sit here and pretend they are. But context matters. This was a rookie behind a bad offensive line, throwing to receivers who couldn't separate, in an offense that had zero continuity or organization around him. Bad coaching, bad play calling, and he still moved the offense through the air on early downs at a 12th ranked pace. That's the version of Shedeur that shows up if you actually dig into the numbers instead of just quoting the box score. A guy who was miscast into a broken situation and still found ways to be efficient in structure. Now put him behind an actually upgraded offensive line, with Judkins healthy, with 2 new rookie receivers who can win outside, and ask yourself honestly what those numbers start to look like with real support around him. That's the version some people inside the building are reportedly starting to get excited about, not because he's suddenly a finished product, because the underlying efficiency was already there under circumstances that would have buried a lot of rookies completely. Think about what he was actually working with: a wide receiver room that finished near the bottom of the league in separation, an offensive line that got rebuilt this offseason because the old one couldn't hold up, a coaching staff that didn't survive the year, no real training camp reps as a rookie before he got thrown in cold in November after Dylan Gabriel's concussion. Most quarterbacks dropped into that exact situation don't just survive it, they get buried by it for a couple years. Shedeur put up an 18th ranked explosive rating in the middle of all of that, and he never gave the job back once he took it. That's not a small thing to shrug off.
We know everything's contextual here, considering the situation last year with the offensive line and wide receivers. But you look at the advanced metrics, interceptable passes, 20th among quarterbacks, deep ball attempts, 32nd. However, that's 28 in X amount of games. So if you played a full season, 3.5 a game, you're going to have to add that up and then rank it to get to the counting number and the ranking for that. Going down here, explosive rating 18th among quarterbacks. Receiver target separation 76. One of the lowest you'll see out there when it comes to quarterbacks and their wide receivers. Clean pocket percentage rate 61.3. However, catchable ball rate, there's a disparity there. Ranks 33rd among quarterbacks, but you see that in the disparity between the completion rate. Blitz completion rate 48.9%, 48.9% on catchable ball rate when blitzed.
Now flip it, because the vet's numbers aren't as clean as his contract makes them sound. Deshaun Watson has never had a healthy full season with this franchise, not one. He's 30 years old now, closing in on 31, and he's coming off 2 separate Achilles tears that wiped out his entire 2025. Before that, 3 straight years capped out around 1,100 yards, because he simply hasn't been available for a full slate since he got here. So when you look at his advanced numbers, you have to adjust for that reality first. Deep ball attempt rate sits around 18.6%, which is fine on its own. Clean pocket completion percentage, 69.1. That's a real number, 14th among quarterbacks. Clean pocket catchable ball rate lands around 20th. Solid, professional, nothing flashy. But here's where it gets close to Shedeur instead of blowing past him. Blitz completion rate and blitz catchable ball rate put Watson right around the same range as the rookie. Same territory, not a gap, not a tier above him, basically neck and neck. Then deep ball completion percentage drops to 36, and catchable ball rate on those deep shots falls all the way to 40th in the league. That's not what you want to see from a guy who's supposedly the safe, established veteran option. What that tells you is Watson's game right now leans almost entirely on the short and intermediate stuff in a clean pocket. The moment you push the ball down the field, or the moment pressure shows up, the numbers flatten out and start looking a lot more similar to the rookie he's supposedly holding the job over. And remember, this is a guy making $230 million fully guaranteed, who led early through OTAs by most reports, and then, according to people covering the team closely, tailed off as camp got real. That's the actual competition happening right now. Not a lock and a long shot. 2 guys with real flaws and real strengths, separated by a lot less than the contract numbers or the draft rounds would have you believe. One side has size, health uncertainty, and short area accuracy. The other side has upside, efficiency under pressure that outpaces his draft slot, and a full offseason of continuity in this system for the first time in his career. If you're Andrew Berry or you're Todd Monken sitting in these meetings, that's not a comfortable gap to be looking at. That's a real decision. And by every indication coming out of Berea, that's exactly how the organization is treating it too. And look, none of this is about disrespecting what Deshaun's dealt with. 2 Achilles tears in the same window is brutal for any player, let alone a quarterback trying to stay sharp on timing and footwork. Nobody's saying he doesn't have real arm talent or real experience in big moments from his Houston years. But this competition isn't being judged on what he did years ago before the injuries. It's being judged on what shows up on the practice field right now in this building under this staff. And right now, the gap between him and the rookie is a lot thinner than his contract number would ever suggest.
Deshaun Watson has never fired here with the Cleveland Browns. There are some advanced analytics from that putrid year that you're excited about. He was a rookie back in 2017. This is an older vet. We're 30 years old, almost 31 years old. You're looking at the last time out, 1,100 yards. The time prior, 1,100 yards. Then again, 1,100 yards. We can only get to 6 to 7 games with this team. And then you're looking at deep ball attempts, 18, 2.6. The counting stats ain't going to work here because we can't get a full 17. So you're going to have to adjust it and rank it if you really want to do it that way. But clean pocket completion rate, 69.1%. It's fine. 14th among quarterbacks. Clean pocket catchable ball rate, 20th. It's fine. Blitz completion rate and blitz catchable ball rate, we're right around Sanders. Deep ball completion rate, 36 and 40th when it comes to catchable ball rate.
Here's the part that ties all of it together. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Everything around both quarterbacks changed this offseason, and that changes what these numbers mean going forward. The offensive line got real investment for the first time in years. It's not the best unit in the league yet, but it's a real upgrade from what either guy was throwing behind last season. And this staff has actually been holding that group accountable in a way the previous regime didn't. Quinnen Judkins is healthy and reportedly already turning heads at camp. This is a guy with a legitimate top 10, maybe top 5 running back profile who broke a 5-star veteran starting job as a true freshman at Ole Miss and never looked back. If he's cooking behind an improved line, that opens up play action for whichever quarterback is out there, and both Shedeur and Watson's numbers benefit from a threat like that in the backfield. Then you've got 2 rookie receivers pushing for real early snaps, which almost never happens on a roster this deep at the position. Casey Conception leads this entire rookie receiver class in separation score, with the best comparable to Stephon Diggs. Denzel Boston is a downfield weapon who can win in ways Cleveland hasn't had at receiver in a while. Add in Jerry Jeudy trying to bounce back from a rough year and Isaiah Bond flashing in the offseason program, and this is suddenly one of the deepest receiver rooms either quarterback has ever had in this building. That's the environment both of these advanced number sets are about to get tested in, and by all reports, the organization is treating this exactly like that, a real committed competition running through camp, decided across the 3 preseason games, not settled ahead of time behind closed doors. Nobody's actively shopping for either quarterback right now. This is about to get decided on the field in front of everybody with actual stakes on it for the first time in years. So when you hear people say Shedeur's advanced numbers have Watson's job slipping, that's not some wild leap. It's what the actual efficiency data says when you strip away the box score and the contract size and look at how each guy performs in the areas that matter. One quarterback outproduced his circumstances as a rookie behind a broken roster. The other quarterback is a veteran whose numbers get shakier the moment you push past short and intermediate throws. That's a real conversation, and it's finally getting settled the right way on the practice field this August.
At Ole Miss, but I think he's got a top 10 profile. Like, he can be a top 10 running back, even top 5 or even better. I think he can be a top running back in the league if you can get this offensive line cooking, and that's going to help Shedeur when he gets his opportunity. And if Deshaun gets an opportunity, that's going to help him. But I think if you guys start winning a ton of games here, it's going to be due to the offensive line exceeding expectations, not making those critical mistakes.
So let's bring this all the way home, because I know exactly what some of you are already typing in the comments. Look at it side by side one more time. Shedeur, 18th in explosive rating as a rookie, 61% completion in a clean pocket, all of it produced behind one of the worst supporting casts in the league. Watson, 69% in the clean pocket, but a number that craters the moment the ball goes deep or the pressure gets home. At 30 years old with 2 Achilles tears behind him. That's not a gap that favors one guy the way the roster spot or the paycheck suggests it should. That's two flawed, talented quarterbacks separated by a lot less than people assume. And now you're adding a better offensive line, a healthy Judkins, and two rookie receivers who can actually win on their own into the mix for both of them. This isn't a story about Watson being finished, and it's not a story about Shedeur being a finished product either. It's a story about a real competition with real numbers behind it, finally getting decided the right way, on the field over the next several weeks with actual stakes attached to it. That's why this camp matters more than any camp Cleveland has had in years. So here's where I land on it. The numbers say this is closer than the outside noise wants you to believe, and closer than the contract or the draft round would suggest. Shedeur outproduced a broken situation as a rookie. Watson's game gets shakier the further you push it down the field. Add in a better line, a healthy Judkins, and real receiver talent, and this competition is about to get tested for real in front of everybody over the next month. So I want to know what you think. Based on what the numbers are actually saying right now, are you taking Shedeur's efficiency and upside or Watson's experience and arm talent heading into these preseason games? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Smash like and subscribe.